All right, we are go for launch.
Good evening and welcome to the Henrietta Town Board Special Use Permit Meeting for Wednesday, April 14th, 2021. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley.
Here.
Councilmember Stafford.
Here.
Councilmember Safranek.
Here.
Councilmember Bolsner.
Here.
Supervisor Schultz.
Here. We'll begin the evening with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So I apologize if I'm a bit groggy tonight. I had my second COVID shot yesterday and I feel groggy.
Yeah. Which one you get?
Pfizer.
Congratulations.
Thank you. First up, we have application number 2021-031. The Collectors of Western New York, Inc., 99 Ridgeland Road, Suite D, to operate a museum displaying large collections owned by area residents and a gift shop selling souvenirs and collectibles in an industrial zone district, tax count number 162.07-1-14.1. or is more particularly described in plans on file in the town clerk's office and posted online. Do we have a representative? Yes, go ahead, come on up and talk and introduce yourself and your affiliation to the project.
Where would you like me? Okay. You want me to leave my mask on or take it off?
You can take it off while you're up there speaking.
Okay, thank you.
Makes it easier for everybody to understand you, especially on the microphone.
Thank you. I'm Patty Drumright. I'm the founder of the museum. This is my brainchild. It is something that I've wanted to do for about 20 years. And 2 years ago, I won an award, a grant, and I've been looking for places. COVID caused a great big stall last year, and Henrietta is where I always wanted to be. And I looked there originally, left the area, came back, figuratively speaking, and now I have found a place on Ridgeland Road that I believe will work nicely.
Great. So could you explain the concept a little bit?
Well, I'm a collector, and I have learned that people who are avid collectors, extreme collectors, they don't just have a dozen. They don't just have one little curio cabinet. They have rooms full of cabinets. They have attics full, basements full, boxes and boxes, storage units, and they never get to display them. We have plenty of museums in our area. We have 4 tremendous museums, but they only acquire the best and they only display things on their own time, on their own schedule. So if someone has 1,000 items, they probably will never be seen anywhere. So my idea is to put together a museum that is different in 3 ways. We're not going to acquire pieces. We're going to display them. We're not going to store them. We're going to display them. We're not going for the best, the oldest, the rarest. We're going for the kinds of things that real people collect. People who aren't multimillionaires and don't have a few Monets at home, but they have 20 years of Norman Rockwell calendars. And we can all relate to those family scenes. And then these exhibits won't be staying up long term. They will be rotating out. So 3 months of this and it will go out and something else will come in for 3 months, or maybe hold over for another 3 months. Then something else will come in and we won't own them. We won't acquire them. The owners, the collectors will retain ownership of their treasures.
Great. Questions?
And then of course, visitors will come in.
Right.
That is the point. Not only for the collectors to be able to put their collections in the spotlight and show them off, share their knowledge with the visitors, tell their stories. All collectors have adventures. And then the people who come through, they will be able to see things that they otherwise would never have any access to because they're not publicly displayed anywhere. And they would buy tickets. They would, there'd be paid admission and they would come through like they would any other museum.
Great.
Will you open this up to schools and students to come through?
Possibly.
Okay.
Right now, the people I've talked to don't necessarily have the kinds of collections that will interest children.
Okay.
And this is more of an old-fashioned museum, things to look at. We don't have the budget for the high-tech interactive things. And with COVID, we can't even do low-tech hands-on interactive. So right now, children are not the primary audience.
Okay.
I would definitely welcome children in the future. If a teacher thought it was appropriate, by all means. Homeschooling groups might be interested.
Okay.
4-H, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, troops like that might be interested. So, and it also depends on what's on display.
Right.
Maybe we have boring old grandparents' collections the first 6 months, but then we get some anime and action figures and things that kids would like to see.
Well, congratulations on your grant, and I think it's a great idea.
Thank you. Thank you.
So this is a really unique idea. I was just wondering, did you model this idea on anything else? Has anybody else ever done this kind of thing before?
It is partly my idea and mostly my idea. And in my research, the only similar museum I found is something called the Wheels of Time. And I believe it's in Illinois.
Okay.
And people who have vintage cars, people who have their hot rods and other vintage cars, they pay to store them in a car museum. And people volunteer at that museum like they would any other, and people buy tickets like they would at any other. So that is the only other museum I have found where people put their own possessions in, and then they have the freedom to take them out whenever they want.
Okay. Very cool.
So you said you do have a couple people in mind for this. What kind of collections do they have?
My goodness. I belong to 7 different organizations. Most of them are collectors of one kind or another. So I have talked to bottle collectors and glass insulator collectors, all kinds of Depression glass and early American press glass. I have been to the local stamp show. I belong to the postcard club, and postcards have beautiful artwork. There are a couple of model train organizations that I have reached out to, and they've talked about needing 4x8 space where they can set up their display. I have learned that rock collectors are more popular than any other group of collectors. And here in Rochester, we have a great deal of breweriana. We have different organizations that collect things related to beer and ale. So I'm trying to look for variety of things.
And what are you going to carry at the gift shop?
So the gift shop would be items that these collectors no longer want. If they have duplicates or if they're downsizing, if they started one collection and got bored with it and went into another area, those things could be for sale in the gift shop. And then I also want to reach out to different artisans and vendors in the area who are producing things locally.
Sounds like a great idea.
Thank you.
Just out of curiosity, are you going to have like any security or insurance or anything along those lines?
I have definitely talked to my insurance agent. I will have the insurance that is required on my part of the building and my things, but I'm apparently not able, and it doesn't make sense, to insure other people's items because they would all have to be appraised, and then I would just turn right around and charge them for what the insurance is costing me. What I understand, in most cases, an average collection would be covered under their homeowners
I see.
policy. And if they need a rider, if they have something truly valuable, I actually don't want to accept it. So yes, there is a coin club in town. I don't know that we would be displaying a coin collection because even if you don't know the value of those specific coins, you know that gold coins are worth something. So I want to mitigate risk that way. And my policy, as I've been talking to these organizations and these individual collectors, is if it's priceless in dollars, and if it's priceless to you in sentiment, then keep it at home and enjoy it in your living room or your family room or your dining room. So I will have the liability insurance that I need as a business owner. And then I will have a security system. And there will be layers of security. My teapot collection is probably just going to go on bookcases with bankers' stanchions in front of it, asking people to stay back and not touch. But then I will have different kinds of curio cabinets and display cases that have locks. Some of the collectors will be there. It will run like a cooperative. So they will take shifts and they will be there, standing in the gallery, directing traffic, answering questions, keeping an eye on things. And then, of course, I will have a security system, sensors on the doors and the alarm at the end of the day.
Yeah, that was my question was going to be, are the collectors going to be there when the museum's open to, maybe explain their
Yes,
collectibles?
yes. Now, not every day, of course, but I would like them to take 1 or 2 shifts a month and be there in the gallery where their collection is, maybe rotate around, learn about the other things, talk to the other collectors. I don't want to call it a fraternity or sorority, but collectors respect each other. Even if they're not interested in the particular item, they respect the passion and the interest and the learning and the effort.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Hearing none, can I get a motion?
Mr. Supervisor, I move to approve application 2021-031, the collectors of Western New York, Inc., 99 Ridgeland Road, Suite D, to operate a museum displaying large collections owned by area residents and a gift shop selling souvenirs and collectibles in an industrial zone district, tax account number 162.07-1-14.1, or as more particularly described in plans on file in the town clerk's office and posted online.
Second.
Any further discussion? Anything online? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Bolsner,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Congratulations. Let us know
Congratulations.
when you're opening.
Thank you.
You can also reach out to the Henrietta Chamber of Commerce and they'll help you with grand opening, ribbon cutting, that kind of stuff.
Thank you. That sounds wonderful. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Take care.
Congratulations.
Hope you get out of here before 9:30.
Me too.
Next up, we have application number 2021-32, Allergy, Asthma, Immunology of Rochester, PC, 3136 Winton Road South, to operate a medical office specializing in consultation and care of adults and children with asthma, allergies, sinus and cough problems, and rheumatological diseases in an industrial zone district, tax account number 162.08-1-8.11, or is more particularly described in plans on file in the town clerk's office and posted online. Can you introduce yourself and how you're affiliated with the project?
Hi, Yilmaz York, landlord, your properties acting as the agent.
And you want to describe the
Oh,
project? a little?
the prospective tenant for us is moving from down the road at Meridian Center. And given the zoning of the building, they require a special use permit to be granted tenancy.
And whereabouts is the 3136?
Jet Plaza.
It's,
Okay.
yeah, located just across the Wegmans Distribution Center.
Oh, okay, great. Oh, yeah, I see it.
It's my old office.
I believe are there other medical offices in the area?
Not currently, there has been in the past,
Okay.
and we've had to do the same process to obtain a special use permit.
Questions? So I assume it's a commercial property and there's no issues with,
It's a commercial office building, mostly attorneys, well, this will be the only medical office currently, but engineers, patent attorneys, 401(c). But yeah, standard medical office.
great.
I'm sorry, Steve, I said Windjet Plaza. I was down to the next one at 3159.
It's south of,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
across the street from there. I apologize.
Is the building ADA compliant?
Yes.
So they were in, is Meridian, that's the one just into Brighton?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Brighton across on
Over the
the
bridge.
other side of the bridge,
Right.
across the canal.
I'll be sure to have bragging rights with Bill Melee at the next supervisor meeting.
So we can,
I'm all set. I don't know if anybody else has questions.
I have no issue.
To me, this is one of the no-brainers.
All right, I'll make a motion. I make a motion to approve application number 2021-032, Allergy, Asthma, Immunology of Rochester, PC, at 3136 Winton Road South, to operate a medical office specializing in consultation and care of adults and children with asthma, allergies, sinus and cough problems, and rheumatological diseases in an industrial zone district, tax account number 162.08-1-8.11, or as more particularly described in plans on file in the town clerk's office and posted online.
Seconded.
Excuse me. Any further questions? Anything online? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Bolzner,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Easy enough.
Thank
Look
you.
forward to having them open up. Next up, we have application number 2021-033, Core Nutrition Club LLC, 3159 Winton Road South, to operate a nutrition club and smoothie bar specializing in healthy meal replacement protein shakes, energizing teas, protein snacks, and hydration drinks in a commercial B1 zone district. Tax account number 162.08-1-22, or is more particularly described in plans on file in the town clerk's office and posted online. Planned hours of operation are Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Go ahead and introduce yourself and how you're affiliated.
Hi, everybody. My name is Billy Green. I'm the owner of Core Nutrition. And really what we are is we're a nutrition club. We want to help promote health and wellness in the community. We want to help people lose weight, build muscle, whatever your nutritional goals are. We want people to be a healthier, more confident version of themselves. We want people to feel better, and we want to help people do that as well.
Sounds good. I could certainly use a hydration drink right now. Energizing tea.
Mr. Green, have you operated one of these before anywhere else?
So I have not. However, I'm opening underneath my father. We have 11 of them currently in the central New York area so far, and we're currently moving to the. So I'm from Oswego, born and raised. I moved to the Rochester area because I figured this would be a great area to do it. Specifically, Henrietta, I think, is the best place to put the first
is.
one. I really like the community. I've even around just being at normal grocery stores, everybody's super nice. Everybody's, super welcoming. And I mean, I really like the type of people here. I think this is a great place to start in the Rochester area. And then we want to expand after that as well.
You mentioned Central New York, where?
So I'm from Oswego, New York. That's where the first one in the area was. We went from Oswego, we went to Cicero after that. Then we're in Baldwinsville. We're also in Fulton, Mexico, Central Square. We're opening another one in Phoenix. They're
That's
all
great.
around the area right now in Central New York.
Oh, that's nice. Thanks.
Thank you.
Can you explain the concept? So, I mean, people can, it sounds like people come in and get protein shakes, whatever, but do you actually sit down and meet with them, go through what they need to do, and what's your background in being able to do that and help people do that?
So all of the above, actually. So we allow people to come in and buy the shakes for themselves. Shakes are about 250 calories a piece. They have 21 different vitamins and minerals packed with different 24 grams of protein, extremely healthy for you. And what we want people to do is we want people to not only come in and get the shakes, but we want to personalize a nutrition plan for every single person. We're going to help each individual person work with everybody individually to find a plan that works for them, to find a plan that they can follow, not some fad diet, not something the celebrities are telling you to do, something that actually works for real people. So we're going to have weight loss challenges, where we're going to promote a huge group of people to try to lose as much weight as possible, rewards for the most person, et cetera, things like that. We want to be able to, like I said, just help everybody be a healthier version of themselves. We also have the power teas as well, which you mentioned earlier. Those are incredibly good for you. And a lot of people are using them to replace their coffees during the day as well.
Are the products, are you making the products there? Or are they,
No,
like-
so it's from another company. Have you ever heard of Herbalife?
Mhm.
Yep. So we're an Herbalife Nutrition Club,
Okay.
selling their products. Everything is top of the line.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So the location it's like attached to the Wegmans distribution center?
No, we're in the Windjeff Plaza, right next door to the Wegmans Distribution
Oh, okay,
Center. Yep.
gotcha.
We're actually right between Pending with a Twist, Sweet Mist and the dry cleaner. In the
Okay, all right, that's a good location.
Thank you.
So how would I compare this product to like a Smoothie King?
So Smoothie Kings, as tasty as they are very, very, very high in sugar. And they're all added sugars as well. So Smoothie Kings, when I used to get the strawberry banana smoothie. I really like them down south. However, there's about 50 grams of sugar in that one smoothie. Ours have all natural sugars. So the sugars that you'd get in apples, in bananas, in fruits. No added sugars, and there's about 9 grams in there. And the Smoothie King smoothies, you can get Smoothie King smoothies up to 850 calories. However, ours are all 250 grams. Smoothie King is more of a like a smoothie bar, like a juice bar. Ours is specifically designed around helping people lose weight. Like Smoothie King, we have a ton of flavors, over 150 flavors, and constantly expanding. However, again, we're going for more of the healthy alternative to something like a Smoothie King. However, in my opinion, at least, the flavor is still there.
So how would you get paid to help me lose weight in this program if I came in?
So from you specifically buying the shakes themselves is really our main source. However, we also want people to be able to buy the products, take it home with you, and make the shakes yourself. So say you're coming in once a day, you want to talk with me about losing weight, you want to talk with me about your progress. I can absolutely do something like that. You can come and buy your individual shakes. However, we also want you to do is we want you to, say you're in a hurry in the morning, you don't have time to stop and grab a shake on your way to work. We want to sell you the product so you can make it at home yourself as well.
Okay,
So we'll be making money from the sale of the product as well as you coming in and buying your individual shakes.
thanks for explaining that.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I make a motion to approve application number 2021-033, Core Nutrition Club LLC, 3159 Witten Road South, to operate a nutrition club and smoothie bar specializing in healthy meal replacement protein shakes, energizing teas, protein snacks, and hydration drinks in a commercial B1 zone district, tax account number 162.08-1-22, or more particularly described in plans on file in the town clerk's office and posted online. Planned hours of operation are Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Second.
Any further questions? Anything online? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye?
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Bolzner,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time,
Do you have
everybody.
an estimated opening time or?
So we're hoping to open late May, depending on how construction goes. We have a construction team standing by, just waiting the approval of this, which we're good with now. I appreciate it. But hoping late May, and I hope to see you guys all in there. And
Sounds
if
good.
we closer opening, I'd like to come in and give you guys all samples, let you guys try it out. So
Make sure you visit the building department to get your building permit and get moving.
will do. Thank you very much, guys.
Hey, Billy,
I'm glad to,
Go ahead.
glad to hear you like Henrietta so much too. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
it's really interesting to hear Herbalife. There's been a lot of talk about Herbalife and whatnot, so it's nice to hear someone who's actually selling the products.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you
All
very
right.
much. Hope to see you in there.
All right.
Have a nice day, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have applications number 2021-28 and 07. Aptitude Rochester LLC, East River Road, an industrial zone district with a mixed-use employment center overlay district. Tax account number 174.02-1-17, or is more particularly described in plans on file in the town clerk's office and posted online. Application 2021-18 is to allow a mixed-use development on the parcel, including residential, industrial, and civic park space components. And 2021-007 is to construct 6 student housing buildings with a total of plus or minus 202 units. Go ahead and introduce yourself and how you're affiliated with the project.
Yes, good evening. I'm Todd Ewell, CHA Project Manager. We're returning, as you said, for the special permits for the Aptitude Development Project. I'd like to introduce the development team online. We have Brian Rosen, Lucas Amalfi with Aptitude Development, James Trasher, and Brian Bouchard with CHA. Since the last meeting, we've spent time going back and forth with the town board and also addressing comments from the Monroe County DOT, which I believe you have heard about. And Brian is going to go into more detail, go through the improvements, mitigation measures, and explain some other application materials that were submitted. With
Very
that,
good. Yeah, thank you, Todd. So do I have the ability to share my screen? I'll bring the plan up on the board.
Yes, you do.
Wonderful. Thank you. So we'll start here. As Todd mentioned, we did postpone the last meeting as we were in the midst of completing all the necessary traffic study. That traffic study was submitted to the Monroe County DOT as well as the town and your engineer for review. I wanted to start with something that we had talked about last time with the board, which was investigating a connection with Eaglewood Drive or Eagleview Drive, which is just to the south of our property. Obviously, it's preferred if we could get signal access there, so we did take a look at it. And what I'm showing on the screen here is what we found with respect to the wetlands. There is a wetland, and there's actually a mapped on the National Wetland Inventory, a riverine feature, which is a stream that basically runs almost head-on into that intersection, which would make the fourth leg of the intersection very difficult in terms of permitting when you think about, you know, avoidance, minimization, and mitigation with respect to wetland impacts. Aside from just the wetlands, you know, I took a picture here of what the intersection looks like, and you can see that there would be conflicts with not only the culvert crossing in that stream, which comes up and around, but you know, even just the appearance of the wetland habitat that exists adjacent to that intersection. But as we did go through the traffic study comments and concerns with respect to traffic safety, which was the main takeaway from the last meeting with our discussion with this board, we talked about the 2 driveway entrances and what would need to be done in order to mitigate any adverse impacts of them. The northerly one, which we knew in our preliminary discussions, is just south of the crest of the hill, which is kind of right in front of the neighboring property's driveway, which does impact sight distances. So what you see on the revised plan, in order to mitigate the safety concerns of the sight distances for left turns out of that driveway, we'll be providing a right in, right out, so that there is no left turning movements for that northerly driveway. And in order to get the southbound traffic into the site, Monroe County DOT commented that if we could not achieve a signal access with signalized left turns, that they would want to see a southbound left turn lane, because as you know, the hill does come down at quite a steep grade, and they were worried about the southbound left turns having the ability to take refuge within a left turn lane so that we can still provide a full access driveway for our southerly entrance. You know, on top of this, we also talked about phase 1 of this project with the board last time would be the development of the residential piece up front, while the development team is marketing to an industrial user for the you know, potential office space or whatever that would be in the rear. So with respect to just the first phase of the development, obviously with the student housing component, the developer's committed to providing a shuttle, which isn't really captured in the traffic study, but would obviously be a benefit to the corridor as well to further mitigate any of the traffic concerns. So we've been through the comments. We've updated the traffic study based on a couple iterations that we have gone through with additional data that the DOT's requested, and provided, the necessary mitigation efforts to ensure that this development wouldn't have any negative impacts with respect to the traffic corridor along East River Road. Aside from that, we did also go through some of the various components within, this board's purview of the seeker determination in reviewing the Part 2 and Part 3. Traffic, which I just discussed, was one of them, but there was a couple other potential mitigation measures that we could implement with respect to the erosion and sediment control during construction and stormwater management from the impervious area that'll be added to the site, all of which is, very typical of a development like this in order to provide that construction erosion and sediment control plan, as well as the stormwater pollution prevention plan for the entirety of the site, which will be permitted by the state and go through the permitting process with the planning board. So with that, I definitely, believe that we've achieved all the different mitigation measures with respect to the seeker, and I'll pass it back to either Todd or to the board with any additional questions that you might have, or open it up to the public for any more comments that you might need to solicit as part of the public hearing.
So what I will say is, in talking with the Monroe County DOT and with the town of Henrietta's traffic consultant, there is still significant concern about the left turn out of this development, especially with respect to industrial traffic. There's a, I realize, I agree with you, there's no way you can make a direct four-way intersection, but you might want to have some further discussions with Monroe County DOT. I just look at a couple things. You have a senior development on Fairwood Avenue that's essentially the truck traffic coming out of the industrial zone would be turning left right into that traffic. Typically, if you're going to have an offset like that, you want the lefts to be offset so that they're passing each other, not that they're turning into each other. In addition, obviously, the more up you are on the hill, one of the things that is common on this stretch of East River Road are students going to various apartments who have never really driven much in the winter before. And so they come over the hill and they hit the brakes and wonder why they are now sliding down the hill. A lot of it has to do with the type of tires they have or the lack of tire tread they have left, which you can get away with in the south. You can't get away with that up here in the winter. So, there's a couple different ways to solve it. I won't go into what those ones look like here, but I would like you to, again, overall, I think I like the layout of the plan. That's my last remaining concern. So, whether that pushes this a little bit further south, right around that Fairwood Avenue is about where the road levels out. There's also other possibilities in terms of at the other end of the property. The only other comment I'll make from a layout, and maybe this is by design to try to slow people down, but the only thing I'm afraid of is people coming, down that northern road towards East River Road. If they realize they want to go south, now they have to do this snake through a bunch of parking lots to get over to the other exit to go left. So you might want to take a look at, is there something you can do to make that safer so they're not zooming through a parking lot where you're potentially hitting people stepping out from between cars or cars backing up. I realize your wetlands constrain you some, but you might want to take a look to see if that's just one of the concerns. I look and see this, but in terms of the layout of the civic space, I think you did a good job with that. You did a good job integrating the East River Road sidewalk. Were you planning on doing any connectors to it, like a sidewalk on the sides of your road, or?
Yes, absolutely. And just to circle back, definitely understand that throughout the permitting and approval process with the planning board, there may be adjustments, to the southerly driveway to make that intersection work. But I think we're still committed to the highway improvements that would be necessary for that southbound turn lane. We did discuss the availability for the applicant to provide cross access to the north. I think you mentioned that. And there's a couple of things we can do to look at making sure that people don't get stuck turning right when they don't want to, either by way of signage or providing a little bit different layout with respect to a main, driveway connection in here, if that is the way to get out to take left turns.
Right.
So we could definitely provide all those details as we go through the planning board, the more detailed design, which will definitely include a more detailed trail network within our own civic space that we've shown, and how we connect those parking lots and buildings to that trail network within the civic space. And then definitely a more accentuated connection to your trail system as well from the site.
Yeah, so that one, has no seeker impacts.
Yeah,
Just
understood.
Right. The left turn onto southbound East River, that one does have seeker implications, because right now I consider that and I don't know how my fellow board members feel, but I consider that a significant adverse impact if there isn't a better protected left turn. And again, that was based off of comments from our engineering planning department, from our traffic consultant, and from the Monroe County DOT traffic folks. They do think it's solvable.
Yep.
But my point being, until we see a proposed mitigation on how to deal with that, we won't be able to move forward wouldn't be able to move forward with a seeker. Now, again, maybe my fellow board members don't feel the same way I do, in which case you could move forward, but they don't allow you to put off a portion of the seeker to the planning phase. We need to, if it's something that needs to address a potential adverse impact, it needs to be upfront before we can approve the seeker. Otherwise, we have to pause deck it, which is a long, tedious process.
No, understood. Well, we definitely have a pathway, as you said, with design alternatives, and we can get our redesign plan back to both your consultant and the Monroe County DOT and get a positive referral from them that you can be confident in.
That would be great.
I agree with you, Mr. Supervisor, about the left-hand turns going southbound.
Thank you.
All right.
Also, and I think I brought it up before, I also have questions about the 30% of the industrial use again. It looks like about 50% of that is unusable land, so because of being wetlands.
So when they do the calculation, you have to subtract out all wetlands,
Okay.
both from the total. So that's one of the things to keep in mind. All these other wetlands you see here,
Are subtracted
they're
out.
subtracted out of the denominator before you
Correct.
subtract that out of the numerator. So, we'll want to see the calculations for this, but Clough Harbor will.
We'll provide that.
Yeah, they'll
yes.
provide that. I'm not concerned about that, but.
Is the stormwater, is that calculated out also, or is that part of the calculation?
So again, they show, we won't get into the specifics of that pond. We just need to know that they're going to mitigate it, and they have a proposed stormwater detention pond. And so, again, for those who are unfamiliar, there's a detention pond and a retention pond. A retention pond holds water all the time. A detention pond essentially fills up when it rains and drains out afterwards. And so I typically, whereas sometimes a retention pond is nice to look at, the advantage of the detention pond is you have lot less issues with regards to mosquitoes, which, considering I'm going to have basketball, tennis courts, and a grill pavilion nearby, I would much rather see a detention pond there. But, that gets into one of those, if they got that plan, they're going to be doing the seeker mitigation. The advantage with this particular, and it's also one of the challenges with this particular area, is it does have some significant terrain. Anytime you have significant terrain, it's generally a lot easier words, you don't have to worry about a slight shift in grading throws off your drainage, right? Obviously, the challenge is sometimes I have to, stagger stuff up the hill. But to be honest, drainage is not one that I'm concerned with, as long as they have a sufficient sized pond. And again, we have people who will.
Yeah, we'll review all that with
Yep.
Chris and, yep, per DEC standards.
Yeah. So that one I'm not concerned at, like I said, the drainage I have a bigger issue with is two things. It's somebody on the top of a hill overlooking a lot of other people and suddenly put in a whole bunch of impervious surface. How do I keep all that running to the other properties? You can see the lowlands are on this property, those wetlands. So they're not going to adversely impact their neighbors. And again, because you have significant terrain, I have full faith in Clough Harbor's ability to design something that will adequately collect that drainage, steer it towards detention pond so it can then soak into the ground.
So next steps, we'll revisit the plan, do the adjustments, get back with Brett, get an approval from him, conditional, and resubmit.
I don't know that we'll need to keep the public hearing open. That'll depend on in a minute when we get comments from the public. I've not heard much opposition to this. There's a few people who have the standard, they don't like to see more student apartments. My point on that is the more student apartments you have, the less pressure there is to live in the family neighborhoods.
Exactly.
Which absolutely creates conflicts. I think when you look at with this basketball court, the tennis court, the lacrosse goal backstop, to get these, especially to get some of the sports teams here. I'm a big supporter of sports team when I was a student at RIT. But I will say I wouldn't want them living next door in my family neighborhood. And it's not that they're bad people. It's just that they're noisy.
They're active people.
They're active people, right? So to have those things here that would attract, I could see that lacrosse goal backstop. I think that would be a huge, huge plus. I think that's a great idea. So like I said, I like the idea. If we don't hear any significant negative comments from the public that might need to be readdressed, then as far as I'm concerned, and again, it's up to the rest of the board too, I would be fine with closing the public hearing with the only outstanding issue is we would have to satisfy both Monroe County DOT and the Henrietta traffic consultant advises us, but that our team to basically say we're good with this. That, because again, to me, that's the only outstanding adverse impact that I see is that left turn to southbound East Henrietta Road.
Has there been any interest in the industrial portion of this property yet?
Well, I guess just to go on that, we're still very much in this, special permit approval, and there's definitely a long row to sow with respect to the planning board and the detailed site plans. So I wouldn't say that it's being actively marketed at this point until we get a little more further down the approval process where we can start to kind of, cater to some different users that might be interested in that space. So we'll definitely keep you posted on that as we go.
And I will say that there are absolutely developers, if that's not your specialty in terms of the industrial side, so we had another mixed use development. They just brought in somebody else who is going to develop their industrial portion as a partner. So there will be opportunity to do that if that's not your specialty. There are absolutely people who are looking for industrial space in Henrietta.
Yep.
So I got to believe that you'd be able to find one of these industrial developers who you could work with and help you with that. So
I agree.
I'm not that concerned about it.
Okay.
I know you are, right.
And the other thing is the one road in and out of the industrial site good enough? That's
that's a discussion with the fire marshal. one of the things that is the way they drew it like this is the plan. There has been some, correct me where I stray, some initial discussion with the Wallman folks to the north. They're looking to have their eastern portion be industrial. And so the idea is that would loop up through,
Extend up. to the
extend
north.
up.
Yep.
You know, and one of the things that comes up is, for instance, if they were able to work a deal where they can get out to Lucius Gordon Drive, or, you know, some other exit that way, that's another way to potentially take care of. I'm not concerned with residential vehicles making that left turn. I'm concerned with trucks. Especially because if somebody is sliding and they hit a truck sideways, it's not good. So if there were a truck exit to, you know, especially to like Lucius Gordon, or if I realize over here to your east, you've got wetland, so there isn't any way to get out to Wiregrass, but there is some possibility that the Wallman property can get out there. So, you know, one of the things that we could take a look at is that that, you know, maybe one of the things we do is, depending on how we feel, is that we basically say that this cannot be developed until they solve that left turn, the industrial. I'll have to talk with Don as far as what options we have from a seeker standpoint. And so the idea is that would have to then go through seeker by itself in order to deal with that left turn. Because like I said, to be honest, it's primarily the industrial portion that I'm concerned with trucks turning left. Although even with the residential, the further south you can push that entrance, I think the better off it would be. Okay.
All right, Brian, we'll take a look at that.
Is there anybody online who wishes to speak about this project? Yeah, like I said, I've not heard. I've received one person who, one comment is all I've received is, oh, and it's along the lines of, oh, great, more student housing. I point out to them again, it's student housing that's not in their neighborhood. So, okay. Anybody else on the board have any other questions?
I just think it looks like a great concept. If I was a college student, I'd want to live here. I mean, it's awesome. They've done a really
Thank you.
nice job.
Oh, I didn't even notice they've got the dog park too.
I was just,
Oh, it's just, everything's here. It's great.
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
Steve,
They've
if
got a
we,
fire pit, they've got pool, grill
Aptitude does a
areas.
great job. They're a great
Wonderful.
group, yes.
so if we close out the public hearing, they got to still come back with the.
They still have to come back, and the point is, and, you know, again, at our town board meeting, we take all public input at the regular session. I don't need to bring them back in order to keep the public hearing open unless someone feels we do, but.
If after this we hear, we get a lot of public comment, could we reopen the
Absolutely.
public hearing?
Yep.
Thank
you. Yep. Like I said, the biggest thing is I want to hear what the Monroe County DOT says, because, and our traffic consultant, because they know traffic a lot more than we do. I just look at that and see it's a concern. And again, in my conversation with them, they all expressed that left turn is a concern. I like the idea of the left turn in. I think that helps tremendously. Because then, you know, you're not going to get the rear end collisions as people come flying down that hill.
Yep.
But it's, you know, like I said, how to deal with that left turn out, and especially with its relationship to Fairwood. So, but again, I'll let you guys have those discussions with the experts and see what you guys can come up with to figure out how to mitigate that issue, last remaining issue. Any other questions, comments? Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
you.
Have a
Thanks,
good
Todd.
evening.
Thank you,
So hearing no objections, I'm going to close the public hearing. Again, if we need to, we can reopen it. Our last application is actually no longer needed since we adopted local law number 2. So the Napa Auto Parts, because it's, again, just a store in an industrial zone off of Jefferson Road, they don't need to come in for the the special use permit. So we're actually done early.
Wow.
Come on, 9:30.
Apparently, we could have started at 6. I could have napped longer. So hearing with our completed schedule, that calls the meeting to a close, and we'll stop and come back on. Anybody who's on the Zoom can stay on for the town board meeting. Hearing no objections, meeting adjourned.
Steve, did you want me to keep the Zoom going? We have 40 minutes, or did you want me to just stop and restart?
That is completely up to you. Let's stop the recording, but you can keep, I don't care either way.
Okay.